shit. Whew. That's a pretty decent. Remember, I might have to share Facebook memory today. So all this to be the richest person in the cemetery. Let me share this time. Good morning, heaven. How are you doing this morning? Good morning, Deborah and Christine. Good morning, Brother John. Share this out for a few more pages. Appreciate y'all sharing and send off notifications. And half the time people only get notified if you hit the like button, if you share. If you don't, then we'll sit here and talk to ourselves. We won't introduce the people who need to be here. Because half the time we're just talking to the choir, which is okay. That's what the media does. All right, hang on. Share that out. Because when people hear something new and they don't know if they accept it or understand it, but they see a lot of people support it, they see it in the news, they go for it. There's a lot of people watching. People that work for free. That's why when my friends live stream, I always jump in. I'm not a live stream selective bigot. I join any live stream I can if I have time. My biggest problem right now is I'm always busy. It's springtime. But when you like, it's consent. Ooh, consent. That actually that's what I want to talk about today is consent. And so, when you consent to the message, you want to support the message, which means you tune into the message. Sometimes I'm busy, I'm working in the garden, I'll tune into someone's live stream, and I'll just let it play in the background. And I'll listen in. Sometimes I'll leave. Sometimes I have stuff to do, I'll leave, but I want to make sure my friends, are higher in the ratings. And I want to make sure my numbers counted in consenting with the people who are dissenting. It's important to consent to dissent. Good morning. You missed my talk yesterday, Ivan, and that's okay. It's just the girl that recorded. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Deborah. I love that you have Obey behind you as you ask us to share. So subliminal. It is, isn't it? You know how that works, Deborah? Obey. I shared. Did you share, Deborah? Did you? I know. Deborah and I, we kind of do this thing. Did you share that? I'm gonna check. See if Deborah shared. Deborah has a whole lot of super special friends. I say special. They watch a lot of TV, so they don't approve of your message. They don't approve of your commentary. They don't approve of dissenting with consenting. That's what I'm talking about today. Hopefully, Deborah, you share. You don't have to share, but I hope you share. You don't bring your computer to the garden. Christine, I bring my computer to the garden all the time. I need my computer in the garden. We're going to slow this down. I don't know if I can trust the number. I only see 9, means notifications are probably off, so we'll delay the start. I bring my computer to the garden. I bring my smartphone. It's the time to get Deborah to share. I'm not starting until people... I'm gonna do a tie. I'm not gonna start till enough people are here. So until y'all invite and share, and I see that number get to where somewhere it needs to be, I'm not going. We'll banter. But no, I take my smartphone, Deborah. I take my smartphone everywhere I go. Like I don't listen to music. Rarely do I listen to music. I'm always listening to lectures. I'm listening to actually, I like a lot of botany. I like a lot of gardening stuff. I like a lot of automation, open source stuff. I listen to like a lot of lectures from like Noam Chomsky. People don't like them. I like them. I don't. I don't agree with them 100% of the time. I listen to a lot of Chris Hedges while I'm gardening. I listen to old Martin Luther King speeches. I listen to. I used to listen to a lot of. I forgot the brother's name. The brother with the wild hair. Out here, he actually was. They wanted him to be Bernie's vice president. I forgot the brother's name. A little bit gray. Says a lot of smart things. He was on the Bernie train. but then he got off the Bernie train, and I think he got on the Joe Stein train at the election. The name's not coming to mind. Anyway, so I listen to a bunch of stuff in the car. I always I want to be smarter when I do things. When I'm driving, I'll listen to something that educates me. I'll listen to something that my friends send me. But music brings about emotion, and I like emotions. Sometimes I do want to feel those emotions, but most times I don't. Most times I want to be educated. So I need more education. Yes, thank you, Sister Lori to the rescue. Yes, Santon to the rescue. Yes, who is that? Samton, thank you. Yeah, Cornell West. Why? Because a lot of these people are spot on, not on everything, and that's okay. Like Noam, what was the name of his book? Manufacturing Consent. He's right. He's right. You can hate him, dislike him, call him the gatekeeper, whatever you want. Not like the way he brushes his teeth, not like the way he wipes his butt, don't like his soap. But right is right. Doesn't really matter what the source is. What's correct is correct. I stopped kind of following Cornell West when he went to Charlottesville. That's when I kind of stopped. Hang on a second. I hadn't talked about Charlottesville in a minute, but that's not what I want to talk about. I'm waiting for people to get here. Oh, looks like we got a good crowd coming in. I stopped following him because he was in Charlottesville, and I don't like some of the things he said afterwards, but I get it. He went there with the church group, and they were praying and singing and stuff like that, which is a great thing. However, I think that when you're in that environment and bad things happen, you pick a side because that's just a human thing. He was in the environment, bad things happen, he picked a side. That's when I kind of backed away a little bit. I'm not a side person. Violent people are violent people. Doesn't matter what color they are, shape they are, what group they are. Peaceful people are peaceful people. Nobody has to like you. No one has to agree with you. So he picked a side, so I really didn't follow him. Anyway, all right. The last couple of comments we get started. Good morning. All right, we got people in the house. All right. Let me see. Cornell West, he's back on the Bernie. Let's see. Cornell's back on the Bernie train. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Well, there you go. Good morning, Bernie. Good morning, Jeannie. Good morning, Dick and Jamie. All right. Let's get going. So what I want to talk about today is consent. And this will probably get a couple people upset. But, we're not here to make friends. We're here just to talk about truthful things. Consent. How upset can we be with the government? We always consent. I'm rough on the government. I do. I don't like killers. It's not about them. I have no issue with. I have no problem with the name Democrat, the name Republican. I have no problem with the name government. I'd rather not have one. But I live in a society, in a world where most people feel we need one. I feel like I'm on a slave plantation, so I'll go along with it. Who am I to say that we shouldn't have a government? I should not have a government. If you feel that we should have one, then we should have one, and I should go along with that. I'm with my neighbors. We live in an ecosystem. We all live together. I can't enforce my rules over you. I prefer if you don't enforce yours over me. But consent is manufactured today, right? We are consenting citizens with what our government does. So we can only blame them but so much. It's like, goodness gracious. I don't know why I woke up in the middle of the night. I woke up in the middle of the night and, what was it? Somebody was asking me, good brother was asking me, why I share Thai videos that Thai defends the rich. And I was trying to explain to him the best way that I could that Thai does not defend the rich. Thai is someone who understands we consent to richism. He understands that most people who say eat the rich, they just want to be the rich. Most people who hate oppression, they just want to oppress. Most people who hate the government, they just want to govern, right? We live in this authoritative society where consent is manufactured and we obey with the rules because we agree there should be rules. And I'm pretty against that whole concept, but I was trying to explain to him that if we buy from the rich, if we live in the richest houses, if we work for the rich, if we vote for rich. I mean, there's so many different ways we consent to the system that you're not really trying to eat the rich. And so, Ty's position, mostly, and I pretty much agree on that, is that if we consent to war, we consent to murder, death, and destruction, and stealing, and having starving kids in our own country and starving kids in other countries and dropping penalties on children, and that actually is what's supposed to happen. That's going to happen. And it brings about a sense of, I won't say a sense of humor. It brings about a sense of peace and acceptance that the majority of us haven't evolved beyond that. And if we haven't evolved beyond that, then this is the way things are supposed to be right now. We're supposed to be these evil little greedy bastards. We're supposed to be these little psychopathic monsters. We're psychopathic monsters. And one of the things that kind of bothered me a little bit, because I think Venezuela was in the news all day yesterday. I actually didn't know because I don't watch. But I see people posting, so I knew something was happening. It kind of bothered me because I do see some of the people who are still on the Trump train, we'll call it that. Same way they were on the Obama train. Some people still, they think that we're going to Venezuela to free the people. They think for the first time in U.S. history, the U.S. government, the Pentagon, people we consent to, people who we consent to all of their death, destruction, murder, and rape, that they're actually going to free the people. There's a name, what is it called? Operación Libertad, or whatever it is they call it. And we're going to liberate Venezuela. We're not going to liberate Venezuela. Just because the other side, the liberals, hate Trump doesn't equal Trump is good. Right? Because the reality is they might hate Trump and you might hate them or be annoyed by them. And it's humorous at times. The reality is that doesn't mean that Trump is going to do anything good, and it doesn't mean that Trump is going to do it. If you process that presidents don't make these decisions, that makes sense. If you still think that your president is making the decisions the same way the Obama people did, then we're in trouble. We're in trouble, right? Because a lot of people are going to die for the fact that we can't seem to focus enough to see the consistency between all presidencies. Like right now, do you think that let's assume for a minute presidents do make these decisions on who to go to war with, and it's not the Koch brothers because they want the oil, because the oil in Venezuela specifically is specifically made that the Koch brothers manufacturing facilities are specifically made for the Venezuelan oil, and that they didn't buy off the American government. They didn't already buy war, which is what always happens. Let's assume for a second they make these decisions. Let's assume that presidents make these decisions, not big corporations and billionaires and money. Let's assume money doesn't make the world go round. Let's assume we live in a crony capitalist country and money doesn't make the decisions, but the presidents do. At this moment in time, you have a conflict, right? Because you hate Obama, but Obama agrees with Trump when it comes to Venezuela. And Pompeo agrees with whoever Obama's guy was, and Bush agrees with Obama, and Bush agrees with Trump. They're all 100% in agreement. And so if you tell me that you hated what Obama did and that he was a psychopathic killer, then why in the world are you supporting psychopathic killing? It's something difficult to process, but the television, it does what it does, and we all get caught up. Get caught up less. I want to show you something real quick. So in terms of manufacturing consent, these things happen because they manufacture the consent through television, and we don't have the intellect and love and impartiality to look at these situations and determine what is best for the human race, what is best for the people who live in those nations. We determine what is best for us. Why? Because we hate the liberals. And so because you hate the liberals, everything this man does is God sent, right? And you're okay to let people, God's children, be murdered for it. And because the other side, they hate Trump. So everything that Trump says has to be evil and from Satan. They want to get their killers back in office to do the killing because it's okay. when their people do murder. Because we consent. We're obeying. We're letting the media explain to us what humanity is. We're letting the media explain to us what is normal and what we should allow to continue to exist. All right, let me show you something. I'm not gonna sit here and fuss at you. That's not what I want to do. But we're being told what to trust. And I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. From the way my mind works, if you are still on an Obama train, a Trump train, a Bernie train, a Clinton train, any of these trains, you're being brainwashed. I really honestly think that you are being brainwashed. I think when you really see to the extent that people are hurt by these projects, these initiatives, these narratives, these identities, you can't be on anybody's train. I think when you envision your children in those countries, when you envision your children walking towards the border, when you envision your children having buildings dropped on them, when you envision your children being eviscerated by bombs like ovens and a Holocaust, except for we fly ovens over and drop them over the heads of children playing soccer in the house, playing Monopoly. I think when you envision it's you and your neighbors or your niece or your little brother or your cousin or whatever, I think that you realize you can't take a position because you're always being controlled in that position, and that all the identities are corrupted, that all the identities are designed to keep us consenting to the evil things that they do. Not that, and evil is probably the wrong word. It's just, it ends up being evil, but it's just for money. It's just for greed. And, all right, let me show you this. Don't let your intellect be purchasable.
Propaganda. Many use the word when talking about countries like North Korea, Kazakhstan, Iran. Countries viewed as authoritarian through the lens of the Western media. Press freedom, freedom of thought. People use those terms when talking about countries like the United States, France, Australia, democracies.
Democracies, free countries, countries that are fighting dictatorships, that are fighting authoritarianism. And I'm gonna ask you the question, who is the most authoritarian country in the world? Or countries in the world? It surely never is those that the pointed at. It's never those that the bombs are focused on. The most authoritarian government, based on what I've seen and where I've traveled and who I've known, is by far my government. What is an authority? An authority is someone that has the right, feels they have the right to dictate what happens in your life. They feel they're authorities over you. What government has the most laws on this planet? Since the beginning of time. And in fact, I dare say, if you took 3-4 governments, added them all up, who has the most laws? One country. One country has the most laws, and that supposedly is the freest nation in the world. And law is the opposite of freedom. Law actually is enslavement. It's 100% enslavement. Appreciate the agreement there, Brother John. But the way my mind works is slavery never ended. Slavery never ended. I say it all the time. Slavery never ended. They just figured out a way to make it work better by getting all races to agree to it and have all races brought into it. Just looking at mass incarceration. In terms of authority, if you feel you have the authority to take little children and put them in prisons and give them 3 meals a day in a cot, you're an authoritarian. That's slavery. You're not going to tell, and it's not a better slavery because black politicians are happy with it and Hispanic politicians are happy with it and they bless it and they okay and you agree with them because they look like you so you consent to it. No, it's still slavery. There's no difference. I mean, why has slavery always existed? Slavery has always existed because you are okay with exploiting the weak or the poor or the less defensible for the wealthy, right? And then you have 80% or more of the population that agrees with it, and so they go do it. And so catching slaves in Africa or Latin America or Native Americans, or wherever you're getting slaves, Germanic tribes, Ireland, doesn't really matter where you're getting them. You are basically consenting and agreeing to take people who can't defend themselves, people who are just maybe a little unlucky, and utilizing them for the profit of the wealthy, those who own the resources. And humans are a resource. My goodness, most of us work in corporations called human. We have human resources. We are resources. And so we do that today for the prison industrial complex. We take people in and we make money off of them by making them commissary slaves, by making them slaves to consumerism. Right? Prisons need locks, they need bars, they need floors, they need to be washed, they need clothes. You know, it's Spartan. It's an industry. You got to feed them, clothe them. And so, all right, let me keep going. Because the thing is, we consent to these things. 100% we consent to slavery. 100% we can consent to war. And this is why I'm not on any of your teams, because all the teams consent to all the evil things. Like, you know, and right now I'm kind of swinging at my friends on the right a little bit, not because they still affiliate themselves with that, you know, but we're not bringing freedom to Venezuela. We're bringing colonization and globalism. We're doing what Obama did. And this is the time to actually show your integrity and show that you are above the hatred that the other people have for your president, for the president. Right? This is where you reclaim your integrity and you show that, you know what, I voted for this person because I thought they'd do a good job, or I voted for this person because I thought the other side, the foul things they were doing were actually foul, not just because I didn't like them. And now that I see mine is starting to do the same thing, I'm going to reclaim my integrity. I'm going to be an adult in the conversation and show you that I'm true to what I say. I'm against colonization. I'm against globalization. I'm against intervention. It's not a freedom act that's coming. All right. So anyway, let's keep it going.
In 1988, Noam Chomsky co-authored a book with Edward Herman called Manufacturing Consent. It blasted apart the notion that media acts as a check on political power, that media inform the public, serve the public, so that we can better engage in the political process. In fact, media manufacture our consent. They tell us what those in power need them to tell us so we can fall in line. Democracy is staged with the help of media that work as propaganda machines. Media operate through 5 filters. The first has to do with ownership. Mass media firms are big corporations. Often they're part of even bigger conglomerates. Their end game, profit. And so it's in their interests to push for whatever guarantees that profit. Critical journalism takes second place to the needs and interests of the corporation.
Pause for a second. So profits. So the media is not this big, massive, evil machine that's satanic, that hates us. No, the media is a part of massive corporations that want to make profit. The more profit they have, the more power they make, the more market share they can buy. And so, how do you get people to tune in? You tell them precisely what you think they want to hear. You reinforce their bigotry on any side. You reinforce their racial bias. You reinforce their religious bias. You reinforce their national bias. Like, I know that there are links between the deep state and the media and how all that works. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how we got here. Right? Like, their goal is to make profit. Their goal is to tell you what you want to hear. It's kind of like friends. Like, you ever have a friend that always tells you what you want to hear. They always lie to you. You know, it's like a husband or wife. You know, does this dress make me look fat? You know. Well, some people want that husband to say, oh no, honey, that dress doesn't make you look fat. It's the dress, it's not you. You didn't eat too many donuts and Twinkies. I think we had a great Christmas and we should do this. You want that husband to be honest with you. You want that wife to be honest with you. Honey, am I gaining weight? Say, yeah, because you're drinking the beer and your belly's starting to split, and I don't even think your belt's gonna make it. I think that buckle just might pop. You know, do you want to live in the real world? You want to live in the fantasy world? You want like a real marriage or a fantasy marriage? You want a real relationship with someone being real? Or you want someone who will lie to you, make you feel good about yourself, and perhaps do you harm? Right? Because eating foods that make you obese, eating foods that hurt your health will kill you. Some people aren't linking it up. Watching media that makes you feel good about yourself will probably kill you. It will probably kill the next generation. Watching media that makes you feel good, not pisses you off, is probably a lie. They are probably lying to you the same way the husband does to the wife or the wife does to the husband, because they just want to kind of get along. You want media that tells you the truth. And media that's their purpose is profit will not tell you the truth. They will tell you what is profitable. It really is that simple. It's that simple. If anything, you probably want to watch a media that pisses you off. Why? Because the world should piss you off right now. You really shouldn't be feeling good about the world. I mean, the world is the way it is because we consent to it. But you really shouldn't be watching the news and feeling better after you watch the news. If you watch the news and you feel better because you got all the tribal things that happen, you see other people agree with you that Orange Man bad, Trump is evil, he is the demon come again, Obama is Christ come again, and Bernie's gonna fight the deep state and Trump is fighting the deep state. If you watch the news and you feel better after, that's an emotional high that you're giving you. It's false. It's kind of like people who go to church and there absolutely is no message, but the choirs are freaking amazing. I used to come out of church happy, y'all. I used to come out of church like, oh goodness, if the choir was rocking, I was like, yeah. Oh, Christ done moved in the church. You know, you go home all happy, feeling good. And you think it's Christ that was moving. It's like, nah, that wasn't Christ. That was a rocking choir. That was a choir director that knew how to bring emotions out you with musical instruments and tones, right? There really was no message. You go home and you think about the message. What was the message? I don't remember what the message was, but you feel good. That's an indicator that you've been lied to. That's an indicator you're watching the wrong news. You're watching news that's just agreeing with your indoctrination. You were born free and you were made into a slave. You were indoctrinated into a community to become a bigot from within that community, to be selective about that community. And then the media create news and programming, which is a good word, that helps to reinforce you not being your authentic you being what they've created since birth based on the program. Let me let it keep going.
The second filter exposes the real role of advertising. Media costs a lot more than consumers will ever pay. So who fills the gap? Advertisers. And what are the advertisers paying for? Audiences. And so it isn't so much that the media are selling you a product, their output. They're also selling advertisers a product, you.
To corporations to get you to sell out. That's why I like the word sellout. We grew up on that word sellout is a wonderful word because we live in a time where most human beings, to be in a group, to be in a clique, to be in a political party, to be in a sect, you have to sell somebody out. Because most of those groups are based in hatred of another group or that we are better. So you are the product. You are a commodity. Your mind, your intellect. Like I already got into a great conversation with a brother yesterday, Brother Akil, talked for a little bit for a minute, about consumerism. and everyone seems to agree, and I think Christina, Rebecca, I think Laura, and a few of us agree on this also, is that you're told what to like. You are told through consumerism what makes you happy. You're told what car to drive. You're told what house to have. You're told what brand of shoes to wear, what brand of shirt. And if other people agree with that, it creates this genre, style-ish, faddish thing. And it reinforces in each other. But you never explore and find your authentic you. Right? You never really get to meet you. You only get to meet the television stations and advertisers and corporations that buy the advertisements of the stations you watch. You don't even know who you are. And so one thing that we were agreeing on is that, when you actually walk away from a lot of this, when you walk away from consumerism and television, advertising, and marketing, you never truly get away. When you really start to do your own thing, you discover the things that make you happy aren't the things that you embrace your entire life. You discover that you aren't who you thought you are. You look in the mirror and you don't even recognize yourself. I looked at myself 10 years ago, I would have no idea who the hell I was. I look at myself 10 years ago and I'm thinking, oh my God, how was I ever that dumb? How was I ever that fool? And I wasn't dumb. I was just indoctrinated. I was brainwashed to be a certain way, to look a blind eye to some communities and embrace other communities. What type of products make for a good life, what success is, things like that. To me, the most successful people are the most impoverished people in most societies. That's what I believe. I think the most successful people are the ones who probably raise kids that aren't interested in consumerism and working for big corporations, but those kids who just say, you know what, I'm going into this field because I think it's going to help people. Whatever that field might be. That could be it being a doctor. But mostly it's not about the money. It's about I want to help this world out. This world is choking on consent because we consent to it staying evil. And that's the current argument we have on the thread. No, it's not an argument. Wrong word. It's not an argument. I honestly don't care if you vote. I don't think it's a great idea, and I share that with you, but I really don't care if you vote. People say, you're telling us not to vote. I'm not telling you anything. I could be wrong. I just know that the media wants me to vote. I know the political parties want me to vote. I know the people who are dropping bombs on children want me to vote. And to me, that's enough to say I'm not consenting. I'm not going to vote. So we can go back and forth, but if you want to vote, I think you should go vote. I think that's just how it's just for me, my whole life. I saw that they had reinforced it. They constantly drilled it in. Go vote, go vote, go vote. You gotta vote, you gotta vote, you gotta vote. And if these people are murdering children all over this planet on every single damn continent, voting can't be a good idea. The way I look at it, it's consent. It means I'm consenting to the normalization of psychopathic activity. It means that I'm not a worker of light. I'm one who's choosing who gets to be in the dark. I'm not okay with that. I don't think there's a least of the evils. I think there's only evil. I don't think there is darkness and dark-ish. I think there is only dark and light. That's it. You're either turning up more light or you're turning off lights. And the system is designed in making profit in darkness and turning off more lights, making censorship, quelling voices, taking voice from the voiceless, more oppression, more slavery. All right, so I'm gonna let this whole thing finish.
How does the establishment manage the media? That's the third filter. Journalism cannot be a check on power because the very system encourages complicity. Governments, corporations, big institutions know how to play the media game. They know how to influence the news narrative. They feed media scoops, official accounts, interviews with the experts. They make themselves crucial to the process of journalism. So those in power and those who report on them are in bed with each other. If you want to challenge power, you'll be pushed to the margins. Your name won't be down. You won't be getting in. You've lost your access. You've lost the story. When the media, journalists, whistleblowers, sources stray away from the consensus, they get flat. That's the fourth filter. When the story is inconvenient for the powers that be, you'll see the flak machine in action, discrediting sources, trashing stories, and diverting the conversation.
And this is why Trump is not fighting the deep state. This is why he went in to fight globalism, but he's a globalist. Because you will not get popular unless you agree with the system. You won't even be known. You won't even be on television. Why Obama did it and he's not, and the next one's not. Because you will not be known. If you know the name, if the name is popular, if it's in the news, it's on CNN and ABC and Fox and whatever, they've already sold out. They already know how to get those people. This system, the way this works with the NSA, and the way that I think, this is what I would do. I would make sure that I knew everything on everybody. And I would make sure that if you want to be president of the United States or you want to be in Congress, I would make sure that everyone you talk to, what you say, how you say it, when you say it, what you're up to, what crimes you've done, what taxes you didn't pay, what you didn't do. And I would probably do it on your family too. I'd roll out something called the NSA and I would track everything. I would make sure that once you got in office, I'd leave you alone while you ran. And as a candidate, I wouldn't block you. I'd let you use your charisma and do whatever you can to get in the office. And once you got in office, I'd explain to you how the system actually works. Because it's easy. It's easy that way. It's very easy if you let people in and they don't know what you already got on them. Anybody who's popular already is someone they can control. That's it. That's how I know Bernie isn't going to fight the deep state. Bernie's going to drop as many bombs as Obama did. That's the world we live in. It's ugly, but it makes a lot of sense if you accept that money makes the world go round.
To manufacture consent, you need an enemy, a target. That common enemy is the fifth filter. Communism, terrorists, immigrants, a common enemy, a boogeyman to fear helps.
Boogeyman to fear. The Trumps, the Obamas, the Bernies, the communists, the socialists, the hippies, all of these evil darkies, the immigrants, the white nationalists, the survivalists, all of these enemies we need somebody to fight. They need to tweak your hate. They need to get inside of you and find that area of your heart that doesn't manufacture any warm blood, any love, and use that to cultivate your hate for somebody else.
Corral public opinion. 5 filters, one big media theory. Consent is being manufactured all around you, all the time.
I go through something serious and I start talking. So, but this is the deal, is that we are being programmed. I'm gonna show you one more thing, and then I'm just gonna go through some comments. One more thing. Who's this brother? Outside of the fact that Blackwater is being considered to go to Venezuela, right? Blackwater was a bad idea under Bush. It was a bad idea under Obama, but now it's a good idea under Trump. Show us that you have integrity. Show us that you're not as ridiculous as the other side. And I think more people are converting all the time. Besides the fact that there is no uprising in Venezuela like the news says, you know, words are everything. Oh, there's a big uprising in Venezuela. There is no uprising. There's like 8 people in a stroller and they burnt a bus, okay? There's no uprising. And it lasted for what, an hour? And then everybody went home. Why? Because the real Venezuelans, not the ones that were purchased by the CIA, they actually started coming out in the street and everybody else left. And everything else was just journalists standing around with flak jackets and like people with purses going shopping, walking around. Because those people understand they do not want their country destroyed. They know what America's up to. They know it's just another colonization effort. They know that the Koch brothers already bought the war. It doesn't matter who you put in. they're going to move forward on it because the citizens are divided. Because as long as the citizens are divided, it's consent. Because the citizens hate each other more than they hate war. They hate each other more than children being killed. You know, they want to win. They need that ego credit. They need that vindictive. I'm going to show you one more thing.
What is happening in Venezuela is a full-throated U.S. intervention, and there's no better person to explain the nature of this type of action than our next guest. Michael Scher has seen this.
Before he runs, I need to hit what Patricia said right there. You see it right there. Hang on. No, I see it. I see it right here. I think you see it. Patricia, where's your comment, girl? At the top. Like the measles epidemic. Girl, I don't think you got to hit the C a little harder. The measles epidemic. Fear. I told them a long time ago, Patricia, you can go back and watch my earlier videos. They said, we don't want to vote for Clinton because of forced vaccinations. I don't want to force vaccinations. I said, you know what? That's already been purchased. Just how the Koch brothers purchased this war, it's already been purchased. The Koch brothers already bought Venezuela. They've already bought the Venezuelan. No, they've already paid for it. Just the same way the pharmaceutical industry's already bought forced vaccinations. All they need is enough fear to give people something to fear, a demon, to get you to run off and experiment with your body. Make corporations billions of dollars. That's I wanted to hit that. Yeah, and you're right with that. That's another good example of fear, the fear mongering. You can control human behavior, you can control entire populations and countries and nations and a planet of people. If you can find the thing that they fear, if you can make them scared of something that they've never been scared of since the beginning of time. Shoot, they get the chicken pox and the mumps. That was time to have a party. That was time to have a chicken baby. Cousin got the mumps, everybody got on the phone. Hey, you know, oh, Johnny's got the mumps. Oh, he's got the mumps. Oh, he does he? Oh, really? Yeah, we're gonna have a party. All right. Well, you know what? Gerard didn't, and the rest of my kids, we come to that party. We're gonna come to but you know, you gotta get the kids together. So we need to have an activity for them, just to make sure that they got the spit and they rub it on each other's face and say, I don't know, we're gonna have a spit fight, have spitballs. I don't know, we need to do something just to get them to share those germs, make sure they can touch each other's on the face. Oh, what was the name of that game? Oh, what was the name of the game? The game that had the little dots on the had the little plastic thing with the dots, and so you had to like put your arm over here. Twister. That's what the Twister part. I remember all of this nonsense. We used to do all this stuff just to get the kids to touch and share it. But now you gotta be scared. Zika was another one. All right, let me show you this real quick.
It's play out countless times. He hasn't just seen it play out. He's been a part of it. He's an insider. He's a former CIA agent who is now teaching at Georgetown University, or was just recently. By the way, his assignment at the CIA, get this, to track down and find Osama bin Laden. Wow. Michael knows as much or more about the real deal when it comes to U.S. foreign policy and interventions as anyone. What do you make of this situation?
All right, so now before he makes what he makes of it, let's understand who he is. He was someone on the inside who understands how this works, who no longer is on television because he's no longer paid to do it, right? He helped hunt down Osama bin Laden. So he was deep on the inside, knows how it works, but no longer is getting paid to say what's convenient. He's no longer getting paid to manufacture consent of the population. So now he's in a position where there's no conflict of interest, where he can actually tell you what's true. And this is why I'm all for this whistleblower apocalypse that we have going. And I listen to the whistleblowers 1,000 times other than I listen to you. I listen to the whistleblowers 1,000 times more than I listen to government, or I even listen to me and how I think things work. Why? Because there's no motivation. But this is a man that no longer is in the mainstream media because he's not being paid to get you to be stupid, because he's paid to get you to agree because it goes along with the narrative of the lifestyle that you're living.
We just heard John Bolton essentially say, yeah, we're ready for the day after. We're going to take this guy out, and here's how we're going to do it. Is that more even brazen than some of the operations you were involved in?
Much more so, but for Bolton, pretty tame. But we've got Abrams, and Bolton and Pompeo, and they're really, they're cut from the neoconservative cloth. They are ready to go to war wherever they want to go. And unfortunately, the CIA is their tool. And if we're involved down there, it's only because they're trying to shove us in there again. And there are people in the agency who will want to do this.
I was talking to Chris Hedges the other day, and he compared what's going on here and in other places to exactly what happened. It's almost the same manuscript as what we've seen in places like Iraq, right? Do you see it that way?
Well, I think so, but you can also say it's just exactly what we've witnessed over the past 2 years. People like Clapper and Brennan and Obama, apparently, enlisted the support of foreign powers to overthrow an alleged pro-Russian president.
Mm-hmm. Hang on. Are you noticing he said Obama apparently? Yeah. Because it is a thing in the country that if you have white skin, you can't say anything against Obama or you're racist. And so he understands how your mind works. He understands that this is a manufactured narrative. You know, Obama was a killer like all the rest of them. Whether I don't think he controls his administration, I don't think any president does. But you need to be able to say truthful things. But I found it highly interesting that he understands in order to get people to listen to him, he has to say a little apparently. Otherwise, people tune him out. Because to a degree, you got to say, you have to speak to people in a way that they're ready to hear.
They committed treason, and I think we'll find that out as we go on.
There's an irony in there, isn't there?
Yeah. And now Guaido is enlisting foreign powers, Canada, Britain, the United States, to help him overthrow a legitimately elected president.
And they have some help. I want to show you something, all right? I want to show you a couple of images. Put these up if you can. The first image is from, I was watching the BBC today, and from Jump Street, first thing this morning, what you saw in their coverage was those words. That's the BBC. Venezuela uprising. They didn't call it clashes in Venezuela that may lead to an uprising. They're using the exact same language that was given to them by the Trump administration and Guaido, which, by the way, last time I checked as a journalist, when I got my degree at the University of Minnesota, I'm not supposed to have government officials write my scripts for me. But wait, I got a better one for you. Look at put up the next one. Then I was watching CNN. Look at this guy. This guy's wearing boots and a flak jacket. I was watching, and I took this picture with my camera in my office. There's ladies, old ladies behind him carrying purses. There's a little kid riding around in a tricycle. There was no violence there, but he's wearing
He's giving the impression.
The image.
You know, in the BBC, you have to remember, Rick, that wherever we're going to invade as a Western power with our allies, the BBC is the first on the ground. They were the first ones in the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. They were there causing problems, creating ferment among the population. They're down there in Venezuela. The BBC is an enemy organization to the United States.
You have paid a heavy toll for being a truth teller. I mean, you could have been one of those guys sitting next to Rachel Maddow every day. I used to interview you when I worked at MSNBC and CNN. You remember? We used to have conversations, yes, you and I.
We did.
You don't get invited there anymore.
No, it's been 7 or 8 years. I supported Ron Paul, who is the master non-interventionist. And I have some criticisms for Israel, so I got banned from the Congress.
But your curriculum vitae, you know.
Just process that. Ron Paul is the master of non-interventionalism. That's one thing. And the other thing is he criticized Israel. Okay? Just go with that. He's a former CIA. Understands how the inner workings of all this work, understands what the problems really are from the inside, not from social media, not from his indoctrinated birth, but from the inside of the system. I'm not saying vote for Ron Paul assuming he'd run again, but I voted for Ron Paul. And the only reason I voted for Ron Paul and not Obama was because I saw the sellout. I saw some red flags early on. And what does Ron Paul talk about? Which is why I still post a lot of stuff from him. He talks about ending the CIA. He talks about ending the IRS. He talks about ending the Federal Reserve. He talks about separating the ties between American politicians. He talks about the reason of American politicians being an AIPAC. And who is Ron Paul? Just another whistleblower. He is a congressional whistleblower. He worked from within the inside. But the biggest problem is we got people who are they're smarter than everybody else. They've never worked in the CIA. They've never worked in Congress. They've never been to Washington, but they know everything that's going on.
Know as much as anybody in this business.
Well, I know what I know, and I know that intervention kills American soldiers, deprives the nation of resources that are needed at home, and makes us hated around the world. The other thing I know is that an intervention is not, it leads to another intervention. They never resolve themselves. And as far as if we're going to play in this world as partners and we expect to be respected, we have to respect other people's sovereignty. And the truth is, we don't have an interest in Venezuela except for J.P. Morgan, Chase Manhattan, and the oil companies. That's what they want. And the Democrats will support this because they want to make Venezuelans more like them.
Can we talk again?
It'd be my pleasure.
Thanks for stopping by.
Anytime.
Michael Shear, we appreciate your time.
Michael Shear, real news, real news, real news. Not based in obeying and telling you what you want to hear. You want to hear things that make you feel good. But I'm not here to sell you. I'm not here to sell you a damn thing. Michael Shear is not there to sell you a damn thing. For the most part, RT is not there to sell Americans any damn thing. They really don't care. They just want to make Russians gaslit. That's why I watch it. Anyway, we'll do some comments and I'm going to get out of here. It is about finding your sovereignty. You notice how everyone's dropping the same words? Sovereignty. Leaving people alone, letting them live their own lives. Stop being an authoritarian. Stop acting like you know. Stop acting like you're always right. Growing the hell up. Acting like a mature adult. Building a new world. These guys, when they get older, and women working for the CIA and in government, they start to realize that they're destroying the planet. They start to realize that they're not building a better future. They understand what manufactured consent is, and that the media manufactures consent because it sells papers and it makes them more powerful, allows them to compete against another set of media. Right? And this is the scary, scary consenting world we live in. And this, by far, is why my friends are pissed off to me that I'm not going to vote. Done with consenting. I'm only doing light. That's it. For me, everything now is light and love. And if it works, if other people agree and they go along with that, and you require your government act sentient, then guess what? We'll start having discussions around sentient topics, not over who gets to press the button to drop the bombs, not who gets to murder children for big industries, not who gets to lie to the people, not who gets to keep the secrets. And I think that's the first stop. I think the first stop is mass dissent. I agree with Chris Hedges. We have to walk away. Walk away. Our pack full of shite media is really hurting us. Hell, they're part of the government, corporate, corrupt corporation. Exactly, Angela. And this is the point. We have to say this louder. We have to say this louder. It is lies. It's all lies. It's all indoctrination. It's all things to screw us up. And to take the future generations' freedom, to take our liberties today, to take away the humans' ability to have free will. God gave everybody free will, and the media and government, they sought nothing since to be God and take it away. The medium is the message. It absolutely is. Conforming lie is all we get. And that's all we get. We get or comforting lies. We get things that make us feel good. We get things that make us feel comfortable. We just want to hear that the dress is actually making us look fat, that we're not fat. No, we're fat. We're fat. And we need to stop eating Twinkies. We need to be healthy. You want friends to be honest with you. Lori said, I ate a pint of ice cream last night. Lori, don't eat a whole pint of ice cream, okay? You look good, girl, but don't eat a whole pint of ice cream. I love you to death, and so I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you the truth. It'll kill you. Sugar is a killer. It's a carcinogen. It's behind cardiovascular disease. Read the book called The Cholesterol Myth. I love sugar too. I do, but I try to get the sugar-free pies. Why? Because I don't want to die. When I say everybody has a right to health care, they do. Which is why I don't eat sugar. So I eat as very little as possible. Right? Honesty. Honesty is a good thing. Good morning, David. Good morning, Brian. Let me see. People want to be pampered. They do, Christine, because it makes them feel good. People want to be babies. They don't want to grow up. They don't want to grow up. It's easier to be a child your entire life at the age of 50, 70, than actually growing up and looking at the real ugly world and putting down apple pie. Let me see. Lori said, Trump is just a dumb puppet. I'm going to disagree with that, Lori. I'm going to disagree with that. You know why I'm going to disagree with that? Oh, he's a puppet. He's a puppet because puppetry is the only thing that works in Washington. You're not actually allowed to make your own decisions in Washington. You're not allowed to. But is he dumb? That's a hard one, because if he's dumb, what does that make the majority of the country? The majority of the voting country? If he's dumb and he played the people into voting for him, and he played the people into thinking he was racist and a monster and a bigot and all these things they come up with, he played directly right into what the script was. And everyone forgot that we're sitting in a theater. Everybody forgot. And they started picking this side and started picking that side. I don't think he's dumb. I think he's highly intelligent. And I think he knows how to play people. And I think he did very well. I mean, he played the entire media, right? How much free advertising did he get? Billions of dollars of free advertising because he understood no press is bad press. I think the man is highly intelligent and he knows how to play people. And so if he's playing people we deem as intelligent, doctors and lawyers and financiers and professionals all over in all fields, if he played all of them on both sides, I don't know. The dumb is not the word I use, because then that makes the rest of our society in deep trouble. I think he's nuts. He's a psyche. I personally, this is my personal opinion. I didn't grow up around any wealthy people that are good people. I grew up around some people who had some money. But the wealthier they got, the less they actually gave a damn about anything important. So I don't think that he cares about people now. I think the older you get, the more you start to care. I think he might care more now than what he used to when he was younger. But then what does it matter? That's the question. Does it really matter? Does it really matter who's president? That's what it comes down to. Doesn't matter who's president. They all do the same thing and they all agree. They're all on a golf course right now, happy, all agreeing with the corporations that bought the agreement. And that's just the sick truth of it. I'm authentic. I have a lot of experience. I have an open mind. I don't watch TV. I walked away from the brainwashed people. You did, Ivana? Did you grow up in America? That might be the first question. If you grew up in America, I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's possible. It's possible. There are people in America that don't raise their children on TV. I was part of the TV generation. So I know that I'm brainwashed. I know that I'm just trying to wash as much of it out as I can. People are told that they have to pick a side. Choosing neither is also a choice. They can't understand that. Exactly, Brother John. That's the point. That is a choice, and that is a sentient. Unfortunately, when all sides are killing people, it's the only sentient choice. And you don't have to have a side. When all the sides are foul, then why do you want to be foul? I don't want to be foul. If all the sides have fleas, and you don't want to have fleas, then don't be on the side. Well, this side only has 20 fleas. That side has 25. Well, they all got fleas. You lay down with them, you're still going to get fleas. You know that, don't you? You get some spearmint, brother. Spearmint kills fleas, just let y'all know. I'm speaking for a friend. Let me see. A cabal installs and controls them. Exactly, Mary. There is a cabal that runs this planet. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's just money. You agree money makes the world go round. How logical is it that there's not some cabal that controls all the money? That literally prints it for central banking. We don't link up our logic and common sense and wise sayings with what we want. See, it's inconvenient to admit that a cabal runs the planet. I have friends, they don't want to admit that. They hear stuff like that and they're like, that's a conspiracy theory. Why? Because it's not convenient. It's not convenient to their narrative. It's not convenient to their indoctrination. It's not convenient to the tribalism that they deeply believe in. So money makes the world go round, but it doesn't make the world go round when it comes to a cabal running everything. It means that they don't get to be on the side. And they want to be on the side because cowards like to be on the side. They need to be surrounded by other people. Strong people, they don't mind being independent. Strong people don't need a side. Strong people could care less. I get stronger every day. I could really care less who stands next to me. I have no concern. Well, are you worried about your friends? They don't like you. People you grew up with, mad at you, your family. I'm not here for them. I love them. I'm not here for them. I'm not here for them. If anything, you want to help them and wake them up by being honest, integrity back first, and then bring them all along with you. But if they want to keep going along with whole dropping bombs on soccer fields and weddings, hell no. Hell no. You ever been to a wedding, had to worry about a drone strike? All right, then don't tell me about no white privilege. I don't hear nothing about no silly, stupid stuff. You got American privilege. You literally go to weddings that don't have to worry about some drone dropping bombs on you because somebody, a cousin of somebody's friend, a second, third, twice removed, shows up to the wedding and they murder everybody in the party. All right. Good morning, Augustine. What's happening on YouTube? Media is a mouthpiece for the owners of society. It absolutely is, Brother Rob. Absolutely. Even the devil will pray in a battle for a good soul, not for those pretending to be good. Be it tools for fools. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have a lot of pretenders. Don't get fooled by the pretenders. Look at the integrity. Look at the true integrity of people. Don't get fooled by people who talk cute, because they're all paid to talk cute. They're all paid to talk very charismatic because they need you. You are the product. Remember that. You are the product. They want to buy you. They want to buy your intellect by telling you what you want to hear. Another example. You ever I go back to like the whole dating example. Why? Because people, everyone's been through that. So I like to go back to that. Something that I think people can relate to. You ever go out on a date and get a red flag? Red flag. Like they're talking about something they're not supposed to be talking about. They're a little too something. And it kind of makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Yeah, my last wife was this and I had to put her in her place. I'm like, whoa, you did what with who? What? Put the steak down for a minute. You did what? Yeah, the lady is like, yo, my last husband. Oh, he died. Oh, he did? Okay. What about the husband before that? Oh, yeah, he died. He died too? Oh, yeah, well, he got sick and has some sort of stomach issues. Nobody knows what it was. Oh, yeah, but you were married the third time. You divorced him. No, he died too. I was a good, like, back in your neck, red flag. We start to see those red flags. You start to realize people are telling you what you want to hear. Maybe they're trying to pretend that they're nice. They're trying to pretend that they're kind. And me, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up when people like Brother Walter start posting this stuff on Bernie. The left starts posting stuff on Trump. And the right was posting stuff on Obama. In the back of my neck, I'm like, red flag. Like, it's like, I don't think you people are who you say you are. But there's a whole lot of them pretending, Brother Gus. And people need to pay attention to them red flags. When your neck stands up on the back of your hair and you get that red flag, that's time to walk away. The tragic irony is we are conditioned to make profits. We are, Brother Kevin, and that's why I don't hate on the rich. Most people in my country want to be rich. They don't just like the rich, they just want to be the rich. They don't have an issue with oppression, they just want to be the ones who are oppressing. They don't have an issue with white supremacy, they just want to be the black supremacists. I'm not interested in none of that. It's okay as long as their kids aren't in prison. Don't put yours in prison. It's okay. Slavery's a good thing when it's you. It's a bad thing if it's them. And I'm just not interested. I'm not interested, It's okay to drop bombs on their kids, but if it's your kids who can't walk to school because a gang will grab them and rape your little daughter, then now you got an issue. Right? So I don't do the selective stuff. A lot of people pretending. Let me see. If we want to accumulate as much resources to ourselves as possible, they do, Brother Kevin, which is why to fight that, you want to have as little as possible. You want as few resources as possible. You want to share as much as possible. Gerard, yeah, I agree. If you're not angry and sad at the current state of things, there's something wrong with your heart. And that's true, Brother Rob. And this is why I try to appeal to people. I try to appeal to them from that direction. Like when you look at the world, it has to do something in your heart. It has to. When you look at some of the kids that are leased off, what always does it for me, Brother Rob, is the kids in Yemen. I look at these little pot-bellied kids in Yemen being starved to death. 85,000. When I see the pictures of these kids, I can't stare at them for too long. I'll talk about them. I can't really show the pictures. It gets me. It gets me because I see these little kids, and we were raised with UNICEF and all these pictures of these starving children, how horrible it was, how the bad people wouldn't send them money. Come to find out we were just being played all the time, you know. Both parties in my country, I think, Brother Rob, you're here, I think you're here. Both parties happily starve the kids in Yemen, and they're happy to keep starving them. They're starving kids in Venezuela right now. They're starving children all over Africa right now in Latin America. They're starving kids in Alabama, in the Appalachian Mountains. They don't give a damn. And to me, if that's not the footprint of a psychopath, I don't know what is. Systematic psychopathy. You know, and so I'm not interested in any of their teams or their parties because they're all killers. Everybody, you gotta have a warm spot in your heart. You know? So at some point in time, you gotta listen to the neck standing up on the back of your head. These people aren't human. These people are predators. They are predators of the human race. They're predators of the weak. Brother Rob, I grew up at a time where the strong stood up for the weak. The strong didn't go and beat the weak and steal what they got and take their land. And that's what, unfortunately, my country's being used for. Military-industrial complex, the Pentagon, the strongest military in the world, looks for the weakest, least defended, wealthiest, land-owning people they can find to murder them and steal what they got. And that's Democrats and Republicans 100% in agreement. I can't have any parts of that. Can't have any parts of that, Brother Rob. I'm an asteroid-er. Send the asteroid, send the tsunami, wipe out the entire human race. If this is the best we can do, we shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be anywhere in the universe. And unfortunately, most people go along with it. Consent. They obey. They're slaves. They live in a slave mind. Let me see. All of them who are not us. The most insidious lie that normalizes human cruelty. All of them who are not us. Exactly. And this is Brother Kevin on YouTube, right? Because that's how they get the consent. Because it's not you. It's not your kids. It's not your neighborhood. It's not your nation. And so you're okay with murdering God's children all over this planet, robbing them and starving them. Because it makes you feel good. Because your government, that political party tells you you're not fat for eating that ice cream. And so to me, I think it's sick. He's part of the agenda. In his interview, he's part of the agenda. Well, Brother John, I think you're talking about the CIA whistleblower that we're just talking about. I think he has an agenda. I think everyone's got an agenda. But do I think that he is a part of the agenda that's invading the world? I would have to say no. He's whistleblowing on that agenda. He's trying to tell people don't trust your government. He's trying to tell people don't trust the CIA. And currently, they're the ones who are murdering people all over this planet. So I don't think he's a part of the... Everybody's got an angle. As long as your angle is in a peaceful direction, I'm good with it. You know, nobody's perfect. That's what you're saying. Are we invading Poland metaphorically? I'm not sure, Elizabeth. I don't know anything about Poland. Does Poland have oil? Do they have weak kids who can't defend themselves? They have old people. They have people that don't have a military. They got minerals and coltan or something. If so, then we will. Chemical lies, yes, Amy. All big corporations lie. All big industries lie because all big industries have negative externalities. Every big corporation is it doesn't make a profit. They're all destroying people or ecosystems. They don't turn profits, so they all lie. Big push for NPR here in Chicago, billboards everywhere. Right, Sandy, and NPR is big news, which means they're big liars. At least to us. To Russians, the Russians can watch NPR all day long and it won't mess them up. It'll mess us up. Amy said they killed my family. Amy, you need to tell your testimony. That's how we wake up. When we look at people from around the world and we realize who we're murdering and we put faces and names and families and we're all family. When we put faces to names and realize the real human impact of the consent of voting and obedience to the kill system. Like I said, America is a kill machine. It needs to be stopped. Britain is a kill machine. It needs to be stopped. Israel is a kill machine. It needs to be stopped. We need to grow up and evolve. All mainstream media is now liberal, owned since Disney bought Fox, all run by the same master. And so it's very simple, Your Honor. We don't trust it. We don't trust it. Always watch the media and look between the cracks for what they're not saying. All right, let me see. I love sugar. Maybe that's why it's so sweet. Yeah, well, it's a neurotoxin, right, John? Sugar is, I believe sugar is it's like 100 times more addictive than cocaine. It ain't on the Schedule 1. It's not on the Schedule 1. Perhaps probably some very good reasons. Negative externalities. But Gerard, we all gonna die. Might as well be from an ice cream OD. You know, and I'm okay with that, Richard. Like, I'm okay with people ODing from anything they want. It's their life. You know, I believe in sovereignty, euthanasia, if that's what you want to do. But getting other people to pay for you eating things that make you sick, that might be another thing. All right, let me see. I'm gonna have to get out of here. The last word, and I'm gonna run. Hey Jade, hey Janet, hey Susan. Just want to say hi. Have to run. Me too, Leonardus. I have to go. Slavery. Every morning I gotta get up, get my bag, go pick my cotton. I gotta go pick my cotton. Brother Michael came in the house. I gotta go. Sean, I sent you a friend request. Susan said, good. And that's what y'all should. Y'all should make friends. One day I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be gone. Y'all should be making friends, working together. There's starving children nutritionally every day here also, right, Elizabeth? And that is very true. The food doesn't have the nutrition in it anymore. As long as the food doesn't have the nutrition in it, then people get dis-ease. And as long as people get dis-ease, then there are drugs and medical procedures that can be sold. It all feeds together. This is why television and consumerism and how it works together is just an evil thing. It's not just about war. It's about big agribusiness. It's about big pharmaceutical, big companies, big chemical companies, big fast food. All of these corporations that don't turn a profit. So I don't believe in any of them. Let me see. Susan says, you see, when the Pope or President, whoever go on TV or whatever, the hypnotic masses are supposed to only concentrate on what they say and not think about anything. When the cathedral supposedly was on fire, masses of people apparently sent money to have it rebuilt because masses of humans are hypnotic. How about all the starving children and homeless children? Yes, Susan, and that's why I stop right there. I'm gonna end on that. The cathedral was on fire and people were sending money. Billionaires fighting who could send the most. Poor people sending money. But when these little kids got a fire in their belly because they don't have any food in it, not a dime. Not a dime. That's why I'm saying I'm done. I'm out the game. I'm out the consent game. I'm done. I mean, I consent in some ways because I got a bank account. You'll never be 100% out of it. As far as what comes out of my mouth, it's always in the system, reboot it, start all over. Start all over. Anyway, where you going? Listen, this is Gerard. Gotta go. Love y'all to death. Y'all have a great day. Stop obeying. We need to be starting up some mass dissent, and it starts in your mirror, in your life. Don't worry about anybody else. You learn how to sleep well at night. And if you're sleeping well at night in this world, maybe go get a brain scan, because something ain't right. Anyway, I gotta go. Y'all have a great day.